Confessions of a Disgruntled Spy by Slobodan Radojev. Mitric Chapter 4. Passing the supreme test. After waiting an hour, the interpreter finally arrived. He was very kind. I wondered why he wore no glasses. He spoke with an accent as if he came from Zagreb. "My name is Branko. We are compatriots." "I'm glad," I said ironically. "You're probably an immigrant." "Unfortunately not," he said, smiling. "I don't understand what you mean by unfortunately." "Never mind. That word is probably of my own saying." "Do you know where you are?" he asked without a smile on his face. "That's what I would also like to know. You have been captured by the French Secret Service. That probably surprises you. Why does the Secret Service take such an interest in me?" I asked. Now I felt overwhelmed by enormous fear. I couldn't understand what was happening to me. The man with the mustache told the interpreter to ask me if I wanted something to drink. "I don't want anything," I said without waiting for Branko to translate my words. "Oh, you understand French very well." The man with the mustache smiled falsely. "Not much," I said insolently. "Ask them why I was arrested." "Who said you've been arrested?" Branko translated the words of the man with the mustache. "These gentlemen only want to ask you a few questions. They know why you've come to Paris, but they can see that you're too young for that. You'd be smart to cooperate with them." "I don't know what you mean by that." "This gentleman wants to know why you were with Consul Bozo in the Louvre today." Branko translated every word with a sadistic accent that was driving me crazy. "Tell the gentleman to go to hell. How dare he? I don't know any consul called Bozo, and I've never been to the Louvre," I said quickly and moved one step towards the man with the mustache with my fists clenched, ready to punch him on his crooked nose. But at the same moment, I felt a sharp pain on my head and everything became blurred around me. When I woke up, I found myself tied to a chair. I had a splitting headache and felt a big bump on my head, but I couldn't touch it. I noticed that the man with the mustache was no longer in the room. I only saw the interpreter and the man with the glasses. "This gentleman thinks you are a man with a strong temperament." Branko translated everything that the man with the glasses said. "Ask the man if he has a beautiful wife," I said angrily, hardly managing to restrain myself. "The gentleman is unfortunately not married." "Is this word, unfortunately, a saying of yours again?" "Unfortunately, it isn't," Branko said, starting to laugh like crazy. Although I felt strong pains in my head, I couldn't resist laughing a little myself. "The gentleman apologizes for the position you're in now. He knows it is causing you a lot of inconvenience. But if you'd be a little more cooperative, that inconvenience could be eliminated." "What exactly do you want from me? I don't understand your stubbornness." "If I were in your shoes, I'd confess everything. You're still young. I feel sorry for you, and these people would be glad to help you. You tell the gentleman that I have nothing to say, and that I don't understand anything." I find this all very strange and funny. I said that, although I knew that it was all to no avail. "The gentleman asks you when the last time was that you were with Maiko." This hit me like a thunderstorm. It took my breath away. At that moment I understood that they weren't mistaken. But how? I wondered, did they get to know everything? I was surprised and confused by all this, and I didn't know what to say. I managed to gather some strength and I responded calmly. "Maiko, who?" I asked, still wondering about it. "Maiko. Who introduced you to Captain Zarko in Belgrade?" The gentleman must be crazy to ask me such stupid questions about men I've never seen or heard about in my whole life. I trembled, because I was very tense. I was extremely angry, because I was wholly unprepared for this situation. I now understood that they knew everything. But how did they know all this? Who had told them everything? I decided to keep my mouth shut, even if they wanted to take my worthless life. The gentleman wants you to answer the question he asked you. The man with the glasses drew closer to me, waiting for my response. I don't understand anything. Please stop molesting me and leave me alone. I begged in vain. I felt afraid and an inexplicable hatred towards these people. If I could only set myself free, I would kill them like dogs. I was desperate and felt weak for falling so stupidly into the enemy's hands at the very beginning of my spy career. I tried comforting myself that my conscience was clear. I wasn't guilty. Some of the men who had sent me to France must have been traitors. If I could somehow set myself free, I would go back to my country, inform the authorities about everything and stop that traitor from doing his dirty job. I believed they would kill me here for refusing to talk and decided to remain silent. They started slapping me and punching me with their fists. Even the interpreter was hitting me. I screamed in pain. I swore that I didn't know anything, that they were most certainly wrong and that they had mistaken me for someone else. It made no difference. I felt totally weak and utterly lost. After they got tired of hitting me, they both went out and turned off the light. It was dark as hell. I remained tied to the chair in the dark for what seemed an eternity. I was pondering for hours about the whole situation and my thoughts became more and more confused. I had to urinate. I couldn't hold it back anymore. I didn't know that urine could smell so bad. All of a sudden the light bulb flashed on in the room. It shocked me and I suddenly started trembling. My head was swollen like a globe. I wanted to die. But it was impossible to end my suffering or stop the pleasure of my torturers, who didn't appear although the light was on. I heard voices behind the door and recognized the voice of the man with glasses. He mumbled something in French, but I couldn't understand anything. I felt that it wasn't going to do me any good. Suddenly, the door opened and the three torturers entered the room. The man with the mustache was wearing a white overcoat. He looked like Dracula. He approached and slapped me. The interpreter gave me a sign to keep quiet, because I had started crying like a dog. The blood had dried in my nose but now started flowing again. I prayed to God that I would bleed to death and he in that way could put an end to my suffering. Branko, the interpreter, was talking quietly to the man with glasses, who showed me Maiko's photograph. The gentleman asks, if you're still so stupid in persisting that you don't know this man. No, I've never seen that photograph. The photograph was taken in the garden of a restaurateur. But where and when I didn't know. I was at a loss for words. I realized that everything was useless but was resolved not to confess anything. I don't know this gentleman. Maybe we once sat at the same table, but I don't remember that. There are plenty of cases of people sitting together in the same cafe at the same table, who don't know each other. I knew this response wasn't going to be of much help either, but decided to persist. I didn't want to succumb to the attacks of those torturers, who thought they could do whatever they pleased. So, that's it, Branko said. You're not only stupid, but also stubborn as a mule. But we have ways to make you talk. You'd better confess everything willingly, because in the end you will have to confess everything anyway. Now, even Branko began interrogating me. He wasn't an interpreter anymore. Fuck you, Ustasha. Who do you think I am, you bastard? I stopped talking at that point, because they hit me badly on my head and in my stomach. It felt so painful that I started yelling and screaming. This man is crazy. I heard a man with the mustache comment. Branko pulled a little knife out of his pocket and started waving it around my neck. You communist bastard. Start talking now or I'll cut your throat. He stabbed me with his knife in my left leg. I felt a weak pain and the wound started bleeding. You miserable son of a bitch, yelled the man with the mustache. He pulled out his gun and pointed it at my temple. Start talking or I'll blow your stupid brains out. I spat on his face. Dry blood colored it completely red. He stepped back and pulled the trigger. I heard a loud shot and instinctively drew my head back. I heard more shots. I twisted in the overturned chair. I was aware that the gun was pointed at me, but felt no pain. I thought I was dead already and that only my spirit was thinking now. The pain in my bleeding left leg woke me up from these thoughts. I heard a door open, loud laughter and familiar voices. They were all speaking Serbo-Croatian. I recognized one of the voices. It was the voice of my teacher, Majko. A terrible thought struck me. Was it possible that Majko was a traitor? Congratulations, Zorin. You really are a tough guy. They cut the ropes on my hands. Now they were all happy and laughing. I couldn't pull myself together for a long time. Majko was the only one who remained in the room. He comforted me. It's all right now. You've completed your task excellently. Now you need to go back to Yugoslavia where we will agree to everything. You must completely forget what you went through here. Be happy, because from now on nobody will have any doubts about you. Today you have passed the supreme test. Everything around me seemed strangely unreal. The pains were disappearing quickly. I was happy to be alive. At that moment, I understood that it had been a test of my loyalty and resolve. Now I realized why I was sent to Paris. I became immensely proud of myself and boldly looked forward to my future. A future as a famous spy. *****.